Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Market Pulse for the week 5th July 21 to 11th July 21. I am Ajit Mahuli, the founder of LearnPriceActionTrading.com. Please go through this disclaimer. Please note that Market with Solutions LLP is not a SEBI registered entity, advisor, analyst. The session is purely for informational purpose to create awareness in the general public and does not constitute a recommendation or advice. All the views expressed are personal. Let's get into the indices and see what they are doing this week. All right, so Nifty, as we discussed last time, after a pullback to this area of demand near to the 15,641, that was a demand zone that we had identified, is where Nifty will likely to pull back, and it has rightly pulled back to this area of supply zone. So that's the range. It's likely that Nifty might overshoot this supply, and it will be interesting to see Nifty's reaction to its all-time high again at 15,900. Remember, unless and until we convincingly close above 15,900, the next up move is going to be difficult. We'll have to wait for Nifty to close beyond 15,900 on a daily chart at least, so that the next targets for 16,200 are opened up. That's the range for Nifty that you can expect from 15,900 to 15,400. This demand zone is still holding up, and this supply is where we have come in. There could be a small correction that you can expect again, wherein if Nifty pulls back to these areas about 700, 15,700, we can look at going long again. Remember, index is good for short-term intraday trading. Don't look at swing trade setups as yet on the index. As we come lower to the areas of demand, be a buyer here based on confirmation. You can decide to do intraday or short-term income selling up to targets of, let's say, around 720 to 740. That's what we see is happening on Nifty. The trend on all the time frames is still intact. Weekly, we had a very bullish candle up move, and then a retracement, and this week it gapped up and started moving up. So hopefully this week it will break this barrier of 15,900 and give us new highs. Daily is looking good after this corrective move and hitting the area of demand zone. It has started to move up, so wait and watch for Nifty. Still bullish bias. Short-term income shorts are allowed. Let's go to Bank Nifty, which has been a better performer today. As expected, again, last week we mentioned about Bank Nifty coming back and retracing to this daily demand zone. That's the area. It came back nicely to that demand zone and started to move up. That's the supply zone, which will still hold up Bank Nifty. Remember, we have once breached that supply zone on the daily chart. The supply is breached, but it has not closed above that. So again, this is going to be the range for Bank Nifty till we break this. And once we break this area here, okay, so there are multiple supply zones here. So that's the main supply on Bank Nifty. So once we go beyond 35,700, 800, new targets for Bank Nifty would be around 36,500 to 36,600. So wait for the up move. It's stronger compared to Nifty, and today especially the PSU Bank index fared pretty well. So keep an eye on those. Bank Nifty, wait for pullbacks to the new demand zones for going long. So this is the area where you can look to again initiate buy positions if you still haven't. Remember, this is the area from where our buy positions were initiated, and that's the first target for our buy position, that supply zone. And once we break this, there is this tiny level of supply zone on the 75-minute chart, which could act as a trap, and then it could start coming down again. But again, that's only going to be a corrective move. The trend is sideways on the daily. We are waiting to break out of this supply area at around 35,600, 700 for us to target the next 1,000 points on Bank Nifty. So bullish bias, wait for pullbacks to go long on Bank Nifty. CNXIT. Now, CNXIT, after giving an all-time high again, is correcting. This is a corrective move. Remember, it is not a turnaround that is happening. There's profit booking coming in. The daily trend is up, weekly, monthly, all the trends are up. So somewhere close to these areas of demand. So that's the gap area from where Nifty IT gave a new high. So wait for pullback to these areas. Maybe on a smaller time frame, you can see that that's the area where we can look for initiating long positions in some of the stronger IT stocks, like maybe an HCL Tech or an TCS, Infosys, TechM. All these stocks you can initiate long positions here. Again, it's at the upper end. Short-term income shorts possible. You can look for intraday shorts getting into some of the IT stocks, but long positions only below 28,500. Pharma, again, the star of the month, last month, and big rally out on the weekly, a very bullish candle on the monthly, but now we are a little bit overextended, so we need to wait for a pullback before we decide to go long. Do not go short on the stocks unless you have clear supplies to go short. Because it's or the index is an all-time high. Maybe only look at weaker pharma stocks, which can give you opportunities to go short. But wait for uh, Nifty Pharma to pull back to around 14,400. That's not much. It's about 150 odd points. That's the area where you can initiate new long positions in some of the stronger stocks for maybe at least the current high or a new high. This does look like ripe to go all the way up to 14,800 to 15,000 in the medium term. So bullish bias even on the pharma stocks, but we need to wait for some pullbacks. PSU Bank. Now this is on the verge of turning around. Remember, we had spoken about this last time that this is the area where it is likely to form a bottom and start moving. So if you see these rejections happening at this area of demand on the 75-minute chart, a nice up move has happened. Now wait for pullbacks. Let's say at this area of demand zone, wait for pullbacks to go long on. I mean, you can use the same demand zone to go long on the PSU bank stocks. A good target is possible on the PSU banking index. You can buy the PSU bank Bs on a pullback, the ETF. So the first target, as I see, is at least 2762, and the second target would be somewhere close to 3,000. So a lot of room to the upside. Wait for pullbacks on a smaller time frame to go long on the PSU banking index. There's some banks like Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, they're showing good price action on the long side. So avoid shorting the PSU banking index. Wait for pullbacks to go long on any of the PSU bank stocks. So the major stocks like a PNB or a Bank of Baroda or Canara Bank, even SBI. SBI actually has moved up pretty nice from the 420 level. It's moved up nearly 16 rupees. So that move is done. So remember, good up move available on the PSU banking index. Energy sector. Now, this is going to be another good sector for us to look at longs. As we discussed, it came down into this area of demand on the weekly from where a new high was given. Uh, Pretty much moved into this area of demand zone. We are still trending down on the daily chart. The weekly is just a corrective move coming into the weekly demand zone. The monthly, sorry, this is the 3 monthly. The monthly index chart is also bullish. Looking at the 75-minute chart, maybe some sort of confirmation needs to be awaited before we start going long. So the range could be from 19,700 to 20,400. That's the range for energy sector. Maybe look at some of the stocks like me, Hinpetro or even ONGC, IOC, Reliance. These are the stocks that you can look at for a pullback to good areas of demand zone and go long. Shorts only allowed once we reach at this point. Do not short because the index has come pretty much low on the curve, and into a daily and weekly demand zone. So bullish bias, this is where we can catch long positions early in the energy stocks. FMCG again, the same phenomenon. So most of the indices are doing the same thing. So FMCG is more range bound and a sluggish move coming in. We need to again wait for some more pullback. Let's say about 36,200 or 36,100. No clear levels available yet, so we need to wait for pullbacks. Uh, so that's the area where you can initiate long positions in some of the FMCG stocks. Wait for the prices to come down because there is this area of supply which is holding it right now. If you see that, that's the 75-minute supply zone which is being held. Once we break this and close above this, wait for again a pullback, then go aggressively long for higher targets. Otherwise, right now it's just range bound between 36,500 and 36. So till this range is not broken, so technically the range is here. That's the new area of demand zone where you can initiate aggressive long positions. But so let's say 36,000 to 36,500 is the range. Upper end, look for weaker stocks to go short. But these are all again short-term stocks. This is not going to be a turning point for a big fall or something. Nifty's trend is intact. So most of the indices will move up eventually. And that's the area where you can look to go long from swing perspective. So this is a good area to go long from swing positions. These will be your short-term income areas for the FMCG index. Finance index again was stronger today with the banking sector, along with the banking sector. Again, if you see all the levels that we marked in the last week, we waited for those pullbacks into these areas of demand zone. I hope all this analysis has helped you take good long positions in the financial services sector. Uh, Already good 3:1 reward to risk has been offered by most of the stocks. So if you have missed, now wait for a pullback to new areas of demand, that is at this area 16,400 for a new target of approximately 16,900. So again, bullish bias, shift of trend on the smaller time frame, a lot of room for this to move up. So first target will be somewhere close to 16,800. So those who bought any of the stocks here, make sure your first target is actually done. Make sure the second target is at around 16,800. And if you have the psychology to hold on for higher targets, then 17,000 could be the next target for the financial services stock. Okay, again, bullish bias. Auto. This is also again moving up. It's held in this daily supply zone. Okay, so let me just remove everything and show it to you. So that's the supply where it is stuck on the weekly chart. We need this supply to be taken off for a new rally to new levels. I guess about 12,000. That could be the new rally level for Nifty Auto stocks. Nifty Auto Index. Right now, it is sluggish and it is range bound at this areas of supply. So maybe Nifty Auto we might need to wait for a bigger pullback or the supply to be taken off. Shorts are possible only on confirmation. Right now, if you see the smaller term trend is still moving up. So wait for a breakdown below, let's say 10,600 before you can short some of the weaker auto stocks for a first target of 10,400 and a second target of about 10,100. So again, longs are possible at these areas of demand zone. Uh, Shorts, aggressive shots, I would say, at these areas of supply zone. But if you're not the person who wants to short, then just leave these auto stocks, wait for the pullback before you go long into some of these stocks. Infra sector, again, same sluggish move, but it is so showing some signs of turnaround. It has come back into this area of prior top here after breaking this. Not really prior top. It's this resistance that it had at 4,300. It came back, retracted, and it started to move up. It has also enough room to move to the upside. And on the daily, this is where you see a nice first sign of trend change happening in the infra stocks. So bullish bias. Wait for pullback to these areas of demand for going long on the infra stocks for a first target of 44,500. So enough room. Sorry, the first target would actually be this, because if Nifty is unable to break 15,900, then it is wise to exit your longs at this area. But if Nifty started shows enough strength to break 15,900, then you can look for higher targets in even the infra stocks. So bullish bias, wait for a pullback, intraday pullback to go long in some of the infra stocks. Media. Again, these are a similar pattern to infra stocks. Overhead supply is there. They are pretty high on the curve. Short-term income trades possible. Do not go aggressively long before you get a confirmation. No swing trades till we move out of this or come to this area of demand zone at about 1775. Okay, so the media stocks are showing again for short-term trading. A shift in trend is being seen at this area. So this is where you can initiate like an intraday or a trade for a couple of days at 1810 for a first target of approximately 1851 and a second target of 1881. So enough room also here available for the uh, media stocks. So that will offer you pretty good reward to risk ratio. Realty, the star of today's price action, a pretty strong move. Now, looking at the monthly chart, okay, this is one thing that I wanted to show you. So before I show that, it is again moving up from low on the curve. But when you take a look at the monthly chart, it is still hovering around this area of supply. That's a drop-based drop supply from s- yeah. So that's the supply. So once we reach here, you should protect your long positions, because every time it is going there, it is coming down. Here again it came, but the only change now that has happened is it held on to this monthly demand zone. Okay, it held on to this monthly demand zone and is again retargeting that high. Now if it is able to push harder into this, we could see a deeper penetration into the supply zone, approximately up to 400, the index value for realty. So good long positions. If you're already long at this weekly demand zone, so that was the area of demand zone, which was pretty aggressive for amateur traders, but it is moving up nicely after giving a retracement to 330. It's moved up approximately 7-8%, and you can see some more movement happening in this sector. So that's pretty bullish. Okay, so this is again an hindrance for that. On the daily chart, that's a supply zone, so the range will still be this and this. But if this is broken, then you can initiate new long positions here at this demand zone on the daily chart. But you'll have to wait for at least a retest of 360 and then a pullback before you go long here. Otherwise, short-term income trades only, no swing positions. So, but it does look bullish, and can retarget based on the smaller time frames, 358, 359. So good positions coming in. Any pullback to, so this is going to be an aggressive trade setup if you go long here, because this is very high on the curve. That's going to be pretty aggressive if you're an aggressive trader, or you can do your intraday trading at these areas. But swing positions can be initiated. Swing in the sense, short term, about few days positions can be initiated at below 348 for a fresh target of 358. So that's what we have on the realty index. Mid caps, small caps, both are still not relenting. They are super bullish on all the time frames, but overextended as well. Remember, pretty overextended. So unless the mid cap index closes about this supply area, you should not be very aggressive to go long. There'll be a lot of profit booking that could come in this area. So if you want to be a short trader, you'll have to wait for some confirmation before it starts coming down to go short. Do not short because it has moved down and gone up. This is still a valid supply, but momentum is towards the upside. So be careful about shorting uh, without confirmation. That's the area of demand zone on the daily chart. So that's a range for mid cap. We are at the upper range or upper end of the range. So be careful about going long. You can do your HIT, small term intraday and short term income trades, but avoid swing positions. And if you are long at from here in some of the mid cap stocks, it's time to protect your profits, book partial profits, full profits, depending on your risk management plan. um, so this is getting a little weaker as compared to the other indices, so just be careful, be protective about your profits, and that's the area where you can again enter long about 26,500. So it is going to oscillate between this till we break over 27,500 convincingly. Otherwise, that's the upper range. Book out your profits. Based on confirmation, enter new short positions for mid cap stocks. Small cap. Now, this is stronger compared to mid caps, remember. Okay. So you can create bullish opportunity, bullish positions in this. It has again given a new high altogether this week. Pretty good move up, but remember one thing, the momentum is also slowing down, so you cannot get too aggressive, or your position size cannot be huge. You'll have to manage your risk properly before you enter aggressive long positions. A pullback to this area of demand zone will be very good, so new long positions for swing can be created at around 923. You are allowed to go long intraday basis, but remember this is pretty extended, so wait for a pullback to this demand zone before you want to initiate new long positions. Those who are already long in some of the stocks, small cap stocks, it's time to trail, book partial profits, and protect your profits if you have gone long somewhere here in this area. The metal index, okay. Metal index again is showing us some up move coming in. That's the demand zone which we had marked last week, I guess, from where it has started to move up. So that's a demand zone from where it is moving up. Though the trend is still down on a smaller time frame, that is a daily chart, the trend is sideways on. Not really down, it is range bound. The metal index is range bound, but a good up move has happened from this area of demand zone, so you can initiate new long positions at these areas, short term long positions at these areas of 5165, because it's showing for first signs of trend reversal. So short term income long targets are going to be about 50 to 56, and the next targets are going to be at these areas of supply. All right. So bullish at these areas. Here is where you book out your profits, and you can create some short positions on confirmation. You can look at SAIL, Tata Steel, Jindal Steel. They all are behaving pretty much similar to the Nifty Metal Index. I mean, most of them are exactly like this. So initiate long positions in some of those stocks at good areas of demand zone. And last, India wakes. Now, this is the only thing that keeps us worrying, that it's come very, very low. It has come very, very low. And when the VIX is low, ideally you should go away from the markets. And when the VIX is high, you buy. So the low VIX suggests that you need to be careful about your long positions, especially your swing long portfolios. You can hedge it by buying some put options or booking partial profits. Keep an eye on the VIX. Once it starts moving up and goes above, let's say, 13 or 14, that could have some wild swings coming in into the index, Nifty index. So be careful, don't panic. It's not necessary that you have to exit your positions, but you have to keep an eye on this, and especially your trading positions in FNO needs to be managed carefully. Don't unnecessarily over leverage yourself. Your cash positions can still remain as it is, which are investment swing long term investments. All right. So still bullish outlook on all the indices. You can have your short term income shorts, but overall bullish trends. Wait for pullbacks to go for long positions. Uh, that should be the outlook for this week. I hope this helps you in your analysis for picking up your stocks for the week. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Market Pulse series. Thank you. Trade well, trade safe, and have a good trading week.